In this tutorial video, I will be showing you both subtractive and additive sculpting. As you can see here, I have already prepped a little slab of clay that is leather hard. This is what we are going to do the sculpting on top of. I have also created a small little sketch that has a really simple design on it that shows a background, middle ground, and foreground. This composition also kept cropping and also overlap in mind. The first step is to lightly draw in your design. You can do this by taking a needle tool and lightly scratching the surface of the clay. What's really cool about clay is that in order to erase, all you have to do is take your finger and smooth it out. You can see throughout this demo that there are times where I didn't like the line I made, so I went ahead and used my finger in order to erase it. Now I'm going to go ahead and label the background, the middle ground, and the foreground. This is going to help me identify what I need to carve out and what I need to add. Here you can see a little picture where the background is all shaded in with red. This is the area that I am going to carve out first, subtractive sculpting, in order to create the background. In order to do that, I'm going to use a variety of tools. The first tool that I will be using is a needle tool. The needle tool that we have provided you has two different ends. One end is a straight pin-like structure, and the other end is a hook. This hook provides not only a tip, but also the side that we can use to carve. When we're carving the background, we're going to take that hooked end and carve down into the clay in order to do the outline of our shapes. The side of the needle tool can be used in order to carve. I noticed here that I actually forgot to outline that triangle in order to get the entire background carved out. So I went ahead and I took the side of that hooked end of the needle tool and I scraped it carefully in order to remove some clay. The goal is to get this entire background nice and flat, but carved down just a little bit so that the middle ground and the foreground pops up. Now I'm going to move on to using my loop tool. The loop tool has also two sides. It has this flat side, but also a tip. We are going to use the flat side of the loop tool in order to help us get this nice and flat. Take the triangle or the tip of the triangle of the loop tool and place that next to your design. Then use the flat side to carve flat to make that area nice and smooth. As you go, use your finger if you need any small adjustments. You can see as I go on, I'm continuing to use that flat side of the loop tool in order to carve it out nice and smooth. Okay, now I'm going to show you an edge or part of sculpting 3D that a lot of people forget about, and that is the edges. If you look at the edge of this area where I sculpted or I carved out, it is very rough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that edge or side of the hooped end of the loop tool, and I'm going to push towards the clay in order to smooth out and sculpt that edge. So look really carefully. See how rough that side is, that edge? Now look, it is nice and smooth. This is something that I will definitely be looking for when I take a look at your sculptures when you try this out. Throughout this process, I would like you to use the best tool that we have, which is our fingers. You can see here that it's still a little rough, so using your fingertips in order to smooth out the clay is a really great idea. As we go, continue to use your fingers as your best tool that you have. Okay, now that we have the background carved in, we're going to move on to the middle ground. Now this whole area in red should not be as deep as the background, but it also needs to be carved a little bit farther down than the foreground. And for this area, we're going to repeat the process that we did for the background. We're going to use the looped end of the needle tool in order to outline the shape, and then use the side of it in order to scrape and blend out that carving into the middle ground. As you work, continue to use your fingers in order to smooth out the clay. And also, do not forget about those edges where we carved. Those are little parts of our sculpture, and we need to give those edges attention too. When I'm done using the needle tool, once again, I use that flat edge of the loop tool in order to flatten out that entire space. Now this area of the composition is that base foreground. We're not going to do anything with this area. That's like the ground level of the clay. We're going to leave it as is. But that little circle in the middle, we're going to do some additive sculpting there in order to create a little bit more depth. Now, let's think about what we've already learned. What do we need to do in order to attach two pieces of clay together? We need to score and slip. So you can see here that I'm using my needle tool in order to scratch in both the tile or little slab of clay and the little ball that I'm attaching. After you've cross-hatched the surface with your needle tool, go ahead and add a little bit of water to both sides. Add that water, scratch, push it together, and wiggle just a little bit to make sure that that attachment is secure. Now that's not the end. We want to make sure that we smooth out that connection. So go ahead and take your brush, get some of the water out, and go around it so that connection or seam is smoothed out. Now I know that was a little blurry, so let's go ahead and zoom in to see what it looks like. I went ahead and used that damp brush in order to smooth out the seam, but also you can use the brush to smooth out other areas of our little sample tile. Okay, so there it is. You have now shown me that you can do subtractive and additive sculpting.